Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very first episode of Pink Talk, part of the locinpink initiative. This series is going to be all about open and honest conversations around breast health and about sharing experiences that show us how important awareness and connection is. I am Nertila Konda, founder of locinpink, and today I'm here with a very special guest, Cecilia Maldonado, who's also part of our locinpink ambassador team. Cecilia has been in the industry for over 25 years now. She is a partner and CRO at Latamways, an LSP based in Argentina. She's former president of Women in Localization, now VP, and she officially joined locinpink in October 2023. So this talk today coincides with her second ambassador anniversary. She's been supporting ever since and embodying locinpink's spirit, advocating for the cause, supporting our community, and also helping normalize conversations around breast health. Cecilia, hello, and welcome to the very first episode. I'm happy you're here.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. I feel honored to be the first guest. I feel very special and very old at the same time. I'm super excited about the cause, about you, about what you're doing, about how you're raising awareness. I think it's super important to have the conversation. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's an honor. So, shall we kick it from the start? You want to share why you decided to accept my invitation today?
Of as you said, I've been an ambassador for a couple of years now, and it's always been an important cause for me. First because of my mom, and now because I'm going through this very special journey, let's say, of a cancer diagnosis. And I do believe in information and early detection. It can make a huge difference. So I am with you in spreading the word.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you like to share a bit how you found out and what was the experience like receiving the news and those first days and weeks?
Sure. So I was feeling a little bit of discomfort, and then I touched a lump on my breast. So that was the first sign that I got. At first, I was very cautious not to overthink it because of, the history with my mom. You can go a little bit crazy about it, but I became super proactive. I talked to my doctor immediately, went to do some tests and confirm or discard the my suspicion. And unfortunately, after a couple of tests, it was confirmed that I do have breast cancer. So that's when it started. And it's been a roller coaster of emotions ever since.
I can only imagine. Yeah. And like receiving that kind of news, like even as you said, you have family history, which does not necessarily, mean that you're going to be diagnosed too, but you kind of have that um, sign that you had to be checking continuously. What uh,
Yes.
what helped you like in terms of a support system? Like it is important to have people around you, to have the right medical staff around you. What was the kind of support system you that helped you the most initially, but even now, like it's been some months, and I'm
Yeah,
sure that plays
it's
a
yeah.
crucial part.
Yeah, I was diagnosed in May or June. So first thing I did was to call my sister, who works at one of the top centers for cancer in the world. And she said, okay, slow down and think. And why don't you do another test before you do a biopsy? So stopping for a second, thinking about what you're doing, talking to your doctors, and understanding what's happening is crucial. But the support system was all about my family, my friends, and of course, my sister who knows what we are talking about. Talking to someone who understands what's happening is, a great thing to have. And then my friends and my family, of course. It's all about close people you can talk to about what's happening to you.
Yeah, we've been talking a bit, and at some point you also decided to share the news with our community, with the localization community. And I remember seeing a post by Latimoy some months ago. It was
Hmm.
in October. Uh, Meet the humans behind the leaders. It's called, and they were reintroducing you. And there's part in the post which says that you've been recently diagnosed and. It says that you are seeing the whole process, the whole journey as a challenge rather than putting it in a negative context. And as a passion project, I think you called it a passion project there.
Passion
So
project, yes.
so yeah, there's this whole shift in perspective, how you see it, but also the language that you choose to use. And we've been talking a bit about this,
Hmm.
and I'd like to elaborate how that has helped you. Like we are localization people, and we love languages. We know how important words and language are. I'd like to know how that has helped you, like shifting or picking specific terms or ways of referring to this diagnosis, to your journey. How has it helped you,
Yes, yes.
cope with it easier or?
So my passion project before was wine, and now and now my new passion project is sharing information about cancer and how you can have a better experience, right? So that's why I like to be here talking to you about it. Um, Keeping or having information about everything that you can do for me is crucial. So for me, it's been a journey of adaptation and finding balance. So when I say passion project, is because I know that not everybody has access to information like the way I do with my sister. And I know that not everybody has the means because many of the things that you can do are expensive or are not really covered by any medical insurance, like the IVs, vitamins, IVs. But it's about finding a proactive approach, access to information, talking to people, not being scared to talk about what's happening to you or what is that you can do.
And I was just about to add that because of our profession and us being linguists and loving languages and being curious, I think we're also in a position or in a better position to speak and advocate for this,
Of course, of
because
course.
with the work that we do, with information that goes through us in other languages and regions communities, we inform, we educate, but also the words we choose, the way we put our translation, the information out there, like we can put it in a way that it's like a make or break thing.
So whenever I go somewhere or whenever I have to explain why I'm not joining an event or not going somewhere or wearing a mask or whatever, oh, it's because I'm doing chemo. Just saying I'm doing chemo and not saying I have cancer, just, I get a very different reaction from people. And I get a very different reaction from myself. I feel different. I just put this as a process that I have to go through instead of a long term and definition of me. So the
And you see
diagnosis does
other
not
people
define you.
also. You also see other people react differently when you put it that way, correct?
Yeah, 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 definitely.
And speaking of like the weird questions that people ask, um, because it happens very often, like people want to be of service and of support, but sometimes they do not know how to approach someone who's going through the journey, and they will say things. Uh, what would you say your experience has been with that? And what would your advice be to, let's say, someone, to a caregiver or to a person who's working with someone who's been recently diagnosed? How could they offer their support in a way that's more acceptable, or that's not coming in a way that's making it worse
Yeah,
for
very
a person?
have open conversations, have open and honest conversations with the people that you care about to understand what is it that they need. With my friends, it's been a challenge because everybody wants to be there for you. But sometimes, because of the way I am, I've always been, I don't need to be babysitted. I don't need to be uh, called on the phone all the time. It's no different now. So respecting the process for the person that is going through the process.
I had a conversation with a woman a couple of weeks ago, and she was sharing her story with me. And part of the conversation was about how she told her clients and colleagues about her recent diagnosis, and like everybody thought she was like not working anymore, she was not available anymore, and she explained exactly that she had to specify to tell them that okay, I'm still working, I'm going through this process, I'm letting you know that I'm going through that, but nothing else has changed. But she had to
Yeah,
voice that because
of course.
the first
I have to do it
reaction.
with my partner sometimes. Yeah, I have to do it with my partner sometimes, and they know that I want to be active and I'm not done. But at the same time, I know that they do it out of love, that they want to take care of you, they don't want to put pressure on you. Being functional, being able to work, having my brain function, being active makes a huge difference. So don't take that away from me. That is, and yes, if it's necessary, you need to voice it so
Yeah.
that people understand that you're not done.
My experience in Albania, at least, and especially with older women, is that they would rather, besides the fact that they will prioritize family, children, whatever, everything else, they some of them would rather not know. And I think, that's like the worst mentality, the worst thing you can do, especially when you actually find a sign like a lamp or whatever it is, and they're just, I'd rather not know. So yeah, I've heard horrible stories, and one of the reasons that I started this is because I wanna fight that sort of thing. I wanna push people like in a good way. And the localization community seemed like the perfect place to start something like this, where it's like
Mhm.
women dominated, and I think that having all of these women talk to me, reach out to me, sharing their own stories, or even stories of friends or other people they know, or just telling me that thank you for that message. I finally got my check done. So because it feels like
It's
we're raising awareness towards well,
unbelievable.
yeah, but because you cannot like measure like the impact of what you're doing, it feels like you're just talking about awareness. You're just talking and showing up everywhere.
Oh,
But
you
no,
you could. You could. That's an idea. We'll take that offline, but that's an idea. You could start measuring your impact, honey. Yes. Believe me, with women in localization, we're doing that. So we can discuss some ideas. Yes, we can do that. Yeah. So imagine tackling something like this, big as this, being super strong in terms of mental health is very, very different also. So it's not about the money. It's not about your medical insurance. It's not about the country where you're at. It's about how strong you are in your head. That makes a difference.
yeah, and that shift will also like probably take time. From the work that I've been doing, it feels like baby steps, but during the 3 years now that the initiative has been going on, I find it really easier for myself. I'll just tell you an example. Last October, I did a breast health seminar here in Albania. And
Okay.
the audience is all like women, and we're talking about breast cancer science, self checks, and all that. There's a friend of mine who helped with the setup of the monitor and everything, and he's like, "Can I stay and attend that seminar?" A male, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I'm doing the seminar. At some point during the seminar, my eyes catch his, and for a minute, I was like, maybe super conscious that there's like a man that I'm talking, I'm pointing at my breast while I'm doing, the whole thing. And I just missed it because I'm like, I'm presenting. I just missed it. And later, I'm like, because I grew up in a place like Albania and we do not talk about breasts and breasts are taboo
Mm.
and all that, I felt this subconscious, I don't know, stigma, whatever it was. After a year, this October, I did the seminar again. And I also talked in front of, there was this networking event. There are like 70, 80 men and women. I take the stage, I talk in front of a lot of men. I'm talking breasts, and there's no shame or nothing whatsoever. So my point is that because I've been speaking all the time about it openly to men as well, for me in the first place, it's become easier to speak about it, but also for other people, it becomes normal. So the steps may be small, and it will take some time to get there. But if you keep doing it, repeatedly, and that's what we want to do with Lucky and Pink, right? Not just keep everything in October. We want to do it all year round. You can see that change eventually, takes place, and it's a very, very good thing. And I see men that are more open to it now as well.
Of course, how important it is for people to know what you're going through, because they're used to seeing you show up in one way, that suddenly it's going to change. So, example, I never missed a Women in Localizations board call. And now I might. Or now I might join from the car while I'm driving from one doctor's appointment to the other. The way I'm showing up changes. And I want them to know why. I want them to know why, because it's not because I don't care. It's because I'm doing something that is important to me at this moment, right? And it's taking care of myself. Because, that's what's priority. But I do not want to stop doing what I do. So if you talk about it, if you tell your coworkers, your friends, your family, your whoever you need to talk to, I'm not saying talking and sharing with anybody just because, but I'm saying to those people who work with you, it's better if they know what's happening, because everything is easier.
Either way, you can also set boundaries later. Like if you share your story or diagnosis and you feel like people are overstepping, you can always, set boundaries. But as you said,
boundaries are important. Yes, yes. You need boundaries. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Like with anything in life, you will need boundaries. Yes.
Yeah, but there are us as women. I don't want to make a generalization, but we're not the best with boundaries sometimes because of people pleasing, because of everything. That's another subject altogether. But I'm happy that we have male ambassadors, on board, and they've been super supportive and super loud about it, which makes a whole difference and makes. Well, what you said, it's not a women's issue, it's a human issue.
Maybe sharing some of the numbers, how much the story changes when you have an early detection, an early diagnosis, how much the experience changes when you have an early diagnosis. So I think those are the focus is important. The focus on where you put that flashlight, where in focus of the information. So
one of the main reasons we're doing the Pink Talk is that, like, trying to normalize it, trying to educate. And you mentioned every story is unique and will be unique, but having the perspective also of a person who's going through the journey, I think besides offering support to another person, it also invites them to open up and to share theirs and make a bigger impact. And we're talking.
But I believe the caregiver is also very important, Nertila, because as a caregiver myself at the time, and you were too, it's important to know how to go about it. What is the support system of the caregiver as well? It's a very difficult situation for one who has to take care of someone who is going through this journey. What do I do? What are the boundaries? What do I say?
How do I
react? Yeah. Exactly. So it's important too. I think that every single perspective and every single player in this situation, and sharing all different kinds of stories, makes an impact.
We're planning to have the caregiver's perspective here too. Like, we want to see it, as you mentioned, put the focus on the many aspects of it and the many players. Now, we mentioned Lucky and Pink ambassadors, which you are one. Now that like you've been supporting for 2 years already now, I'm very appreciative of you being among us. What's your perspective, and or better say, how does it feel like sharing your story through Looking Pink now? And what do you want your story to tell? How do you want your story to get to people, and what do you want to do through these stories sharing through Looking Pink?
So again, this is sort of part of my new passion project, which is sharing information and sharing all the things that you can do to have a better experience during this process. Highlighting the importance of early detection because it changes the panorama completely. And now I have a different perspective. It's not the caregiver one, but it's the patient one. For me, it's about, as we have been saying, sharing the word, breaking down the stigma around cancer overall. It's unbelievable if once you're in this place and you look at the numbers, how many women go through this that we don't know of, that go through it silently. So sharing information, alternative therapies, alternative treatments. I am surprised at, and I'm in it's not a small, it's the number 2 city in Argentina, but I'm in Argentina. It's not one of the, top economies in the world. And still, we have good medicine. And I'm surprised when and we work because of the work that we do, client-wise and community-wise, Women in Localization and so many other organizations that I collaborate with. I'm surprised how many people do not know about alternative therapies, like IVs or supplementation, or even the cold, the helmet to avoid hair loss, and all of the things that are available for many of us. And even I'm not talking about paying big amounts of money, because I have one of our staff went through cancer last year, and she created the helmets herself. And she would go to her chemo sessions with the helmets that she made homemade. The only difference is that she had to change them every, when the icing was becoming, obviously, when it was melting, because it has to be super, super, it has to be ice. But she made homemade helmets, and she never lost her hair. So it's just sharing this kind of information and understanding why certain things happen, or you know what, I felt really good doing this or that. And it's access to information for me in the end. Then you can choose whatever way you want to go. But if you have the information, if you know what are the many options and many pathways you can, walk through, then it's your choice. And having choices for me has always been everything.
Yeah, and I guess at this point is also about being interested and curious yourself as a patient as well, because many will just obviously go to the doctor, receive the diagnosis, and the doctor will prescribe something and will just go with it and probably never wander
Challenge
around.
the doctor. I do understand that if I see my lab tests from chemo to chemo, I understand that my body is not at 100%. So, for example, once my chemo is done, that I'm going to be doing 5 out of 6 next week, once that is done, then I have to go to surgery. And they want to do surgery 1 month after my chemo is done. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I want more time. I want more time to recover. I want to go into surgery feeling almost 100%. And for that, I need time with no drugs. I need time with supplementation. I need time to give my body time to recover. And I think that the recovery of that surgery is going to be 100 times better if
You
your
take the pill.
body goes in exactly into surgery almost at 100%. But that is something that you have to challenge. Doctors are going to think, no, I don't want to leave this in the hands of, or I. So
Or
if
they
you
just have to follow a
know
schedule, whatever it is. Yeah.
exactly, or because it's summertime in Argentina, so they want to rush it because they want to go on vacation. I don't care. So I need 2 months. I can't do 1 month. So I'm negotiating. I say I'm negotiating with my doctor, but I'm challenging my doctor to give me answers of why the rush. And think, if I go into a surgery at 70% instead of 100%, what are the chances of recovery? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? Right? So that is what information helps you do, right? Not
Yeah.
becoming a doctor
Absolutely.
yourself, but to take care of yourself, to take
Yeah.
better care of yourself.
It's the proactive approach that you mentioned earlier. Like be proactive about it. This is about you. So take charge of take control of the
Yes.
situation and not
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Like
So
with everything in your life, like with everything, if you're having your house built and you hire an architect, but then you have to voice what you want. Same thing. Otherwise, don't complain afterwards. Like, I don't like this, space. You were never really involved.
part of the
So it's the same
conversation.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is true.
Knowing what you want, knowing what makes you happy. Um, makes everything easier. So in my case, my journey, trying to find a passion project during this process motivates me, right? I'm trying to keep this positive mindset so that I have a better experience. And I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to talk to yourself and say, hey, no, not going down there, not going down there. Like, yes, I don't feel great. I was talking to you before. I don't feel great. I don't look I'm not as, I don't feel as comfortable in my own skin as I did before with my hair, with everything. But I'm going through this process. It's temporary.
Yeah, and it
I'm not going
starts
to
with you.
hide.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hide in the meantime, right? It's a
No, you're
process.
not.
It's I'm not gonna hide, but it's a process. It's gonna end,
Yeah.
and life continues, and just enjoy.
Yeah.
But mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a strong message for all the women out there who are going through the same journey and are afraid to share their story or think their story doesn't matter or
Oh my God, it
for
does.
yeah, like I really want to take the opportunity to encourage them to step out and tell their story for themselves and because it will benefit them in their social circle, professional, and so on, but it will like help other people who are going through this, and we never know what
Of
people are
course.
going through. So I really appreciate you doing this. I know it's going to be of comfort and support to and inspiration to many other women, and there are a lot of women in our
I hope
industry.
so.
So can't thank you enough. If there's anything you
Mm.
wanna say to the women that are gonna watch this, like to conclude the talk.
I do want to stress that every story is very different. As you said, encouraging more people to share their journey. Sometimes you think your story is not important, but your story might be anything and everything somebody needs to hear. So just, to give hope and strength to somebody else. Um, Focus on the positive of everything. Everything happens for a reason, and sometimes we just need to find out why. So it changes the perspective of everything. It might help you find whatever you were looking for and you didn't know. And just share, find out, take care of your body, take care of your mind. And you're not alone. I think you're never alone. Never.
That's
I don't
very
want to cry.
powerful. Oh no, that's very powerful, and can't thank you enough for being here today, for sharing this, and for really embodying the spirit of resilience and hope and strength that we want to share through this series.
And you can cry. That's part of the
Yeah,
process too.
absolutely. Absolutely crying
Oh,
with
I
the
cry all the time
babies.
now. I used to cry a lot. Now I cry even more.
I cried a couple of nights ago watching a movie, so I'm a
Exactly.
crybaby
Well,
too.
that's
No,
they say this. They say the stronger people cry all the time watching movies, just because they're like contained all the rest of the time. My daughter will look at me like, "What? You're crying because of this?"
yeah, my sister was actually
Yeah,
the same, and I'm like, in the
yeah.
beginning, I was like almost crying. I was like watching movies when she was not around because I knew that I might.
You would cry.
And
Yeah.
but now it's like, I don't even mind. She can say whatever she wants. I do believe that there's a lot of strength in being vulnerable. Like,
Yes.
yeah, so not hiding any of that.
That
So
is true. And there's another thing before you wrap it up, there's another thing I want to and as I was telling you before, maybe you can have another episode on this. This is part of my passion project. As it's making my sister more visible because she's so passionate about what she does that she forgets about um, everything that she could do with what she knows, right? Um, but it's trying to find, for me, this has been super different and easier because I'm combining the best of both worlds, I say, conventional medicine and alternative medicine. So find out about that. Do not, because I don't, at least in Argentina, every doctor I've seen does not care and does not think that healthy eating is important. They don't believe all the IV supplementation I'm doing is important. So, and it blows my mind because they look at the numbers, statistics from, of course, there's very different. There's huge labs behind conventional medicine, and there's not that much money behind alternative medicine. So the numbers or the statistics or what they're working with to show you what's good and bad, of course, it doesn't compare. But I am a believer. I do believe in conventional medicine, but I've seen how different my journey has been with the help of alternative medicine. So combine the best of both worlds, and I can guarantee your experience it's going to be very, very different.
no, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm sure many people will be going and checking this after the video. I hope that everyone who's going to watch this video, the message resonates with them. I hope for them to share it and connect. And fellows, do not forget to check your breast health. That's the most important message. I will be seeing you in the next Pink Talk soon with another special
Yes.
guest. Yeah. Thank you, Cecilia, for being
Yay!
here today. It was lovely having you. Bye bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.